Su Yinqing's wedding was held in the banquet hall of the Chang'an Hotel. 16 crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. The red carpet stretched for 30 meters, and heart-shaped arrangements of lobster, costing 1,800 yuan per table, adorned the plates. Even the napkins were folded into the shape of swans. I sat in the corner of table 9, sandwiched between a retired auntie and a balding uncle. My chopsticks gripped a third lobster claw as I shoved it into my mouth. On stage, the officiant raised the microphone. "Groom, do you take?" "I do," Shen Jingchuan said, his voice low and his gaze full of deep affection. "Bride?" "I do," Sun Yinqing replied, her voice trembling slightly, just enough for the entire room to hear. Rings were exchanged. A hug, a kiss. The hall erupted in thundering applause. And then, my tears started falling. Not the silent, glistening kind. It was a torrential downpour accompanied by a mess of snot as I plastered one tissue after another onto my face. My shoulders shook with convulsive sobs. My lips were completely out of control. The auntie beside me put down her chopsticks and patted my back. "Young man, look on the bright side. You're still young." The uncle across from me pushed a glass of red wine over. "Have a sip. Calm yourself down." Behind me, 2 bridesmaids were whispering. "Oh my God, isn't that Gu Yi, the guy who chased Sun Yinqing for 3 years?" 3 years. Crying like that. It's truly heartbreaking. Heartbreaking my ass. Listen to me explain. These are tears of joy. 3 years ago, I opened my eyes and found myself inside a melodramatic romance novel. My role, Gu Yi, the second male lead. Character archetype, unwaveringly devoted, humbly pining, and a total plot device. My scene checklist, drinking on behalf of the female lead, holding an umbrella for her, rushing her to the hospital at 3 in the morning, and serving as an emotional trash bin whenever she fought with the male lead. The ending. The female lead marries the male lead. The second male lead weeps bitterly at the wedding. The camera pans out. The end. 3 years. Exactly 1,095 days. I stood in a rainstorm for 6 hours just to hold an umbrella for her, all while wearing noise-canceling headphones, listening to the 3-body problem from start to finish. I hand-wrote 47 love letters. I Baidu searched heartfelt love letter templates, replaced name with Yinqing, and didn't even bother to fix the typos. On her birthday, I rented out every street lamp screen on an entire block to scroll the words, "Sun Yinqing, I love you." I put on a 12-month payment plan and only finished paying it off last month. Every time she rejected me, I had to perform the stoic turn away, lonely silhouette. The angle of the turn, the tilt of my head, the intensity of my clenched fist. I practiced them all 300 times in the bathroom mirror. I threw out my back twice. I bruised my knee once. But now it's all over. Sun Yinqing has married Shen Jingchuan. The main plot is complete. The book is finished. And I am free. I wiped my face, stuffed the soggy wad of tissues into my pocket, and took 3 deep breaths. I stood up and stretched. My spine popped 4 times like bones that had been sealed for 3 years, finally being unlocked. I walked out. My pace was light, as if I had springs on the soles of my feet. "Gu Yi," a voice came from behind me. It wasn't loud, but it was clear enough. It carried a natural sense of command, the way a master calls out, expecting the dog to stop. I stopped, not out of habit, but because I wanted to see what she actually had to say. Sun Yinqing stood 3 paces away, her white lace gown trailing across the marble floor, a glass of red wine in her hand. Her makeup was pristine. After all, I was the one who had been crying, not her. She tilted her head, her lashes lowered, her lips curved into a perfectly measured look of apology. "I know today is quite difficult for you." A pause. She looked up. "But I hope you can give us your blessing." Page 327, line 4. Not a single punctuation mark off. I nodded. "Happy wedding." Having said that, I turned around to leave. The sharp clicking of high heels echoed 4 times on the marble. She was chasing after me. "Wait a minute." She circled around in front of me, blocking my path. Her fingertips twirled the stem of her wine glass. her gaze like she was scrutinizing a program that had suddenly stopped following instructions. Go to the airport tomorrow and pick up my cousin for me. The flight is Air China CA 1304, arriving at 2 in the afternoon. No. Silence. The entire corridor fell silent. The clamor of the banquet hall in the distance felt as if it were muffled by a layer of water. Sun Yinqing's expression, how should I describe it, was like a remote control being pointed at a TV and pressing on, but the TV gave no response. She pressed it again. What did you say? I'm not going. I repeated, my tone steady. Sun Yinqing, you're married now. If your cousin needs picking up, let your husband do it. Her pupils contracted. It wasn't a reaction of sadness. It was confusion. It was the confusion of, why is this program reporting an error? Guyi, you're not yourself today. She frowned, looking me up and down. Are you drunk? I haven't been drinking. I patted my stomach. I just ate 5 lobsters and I'm stuffed. This wedding banquet of yours is pretty good. 1,800 a table is quite a value. The corner of her mouth twitched. I raised my hand to check my watch. 9:28. If I head back now, I can still make it for the 10 o'clock ranked match. I'll be going then. I left the gift money on the table. 660 for good luck. With that, I really left. I didn't stop this time. Pushing open the glass doors at the end of the corridor, the cold air rushed against my face, carrying the earthy scent of soil after the rain. Sun Yinqing's voice came from behind, muffled into a muddled echo by the glass door and the hallway. Guyi, you stop right, the door closed. It was drizzling outside. In the past, every time I encountered weather like this, I would perform my signature routine, standing in the rain without an umbrella to show my heartbreak. Once, I even caught a high fever because of it and lay in bed for 2 days. Now, I pulled a folding umbrella from my suit's inner pocket and snapped it open with a clack. Black canopy. Sturdy ribs. I'd bought it online 3 months ago for 29 yuan and 90 cents. Raindrops drummed against the fabric. Every beat sounded like it was applauding me. I stepped down the stairs, humming a tuneless little melody. I walked into the rainy night. 3 years. Finally, I'm off the clock. At 8:30 the next morning, sunlight stabbed through the gap in the curtains and smacked me in the face. I rolled over in bed, covering my head with the pillow, rolled over again. Then I sat up abruptly. No more buying breakfast for Sun Yinqing. No more waiting outside her building for her to leave. No more morning greetings. Yinqing, you have to be happy today, okay? Anymore. I lay back down, staring at the ceiling, my mouth curling into a wide grin. Like a salted fish being released into the wild, I splayed out on the bed in a wide starfish pose. I've lived in this 35 square meter rental for 3 years. The rent is 2,300, it's north-facing, and the lighting is terrible. But right now, the sun was leaking through the gap in the curtains just right, shining on my toes. Every single toe was glowing. Everything seems so, no, can't use adjectives. Basically, it's just pure bliss. The kind of bliss that feels like bubbles rising from the very marrow of my bones. I rolled out of bed and opened the fridge. Inside were the wedding desserts I'd swiped last night. 2 pieces of tiramisu and a box of macarons. I tore open the packaging, stuffed a piece into my mouth, and turned on the game console. By 11:17 a.m., I had won 6 ranked matches in a row and climbed 2 tiers. For lunch, I ordered a 48 yuan delivery of fish with pickled cabbage, a luxury I wouldn't have dared in the past, as every cent had to be saved to buy this or that for Sun Yinqing. My lips went numb from the meal, and I burned a small patch of skin on the tip of my tongue. It was worth it. At 2 p.m., the doorbell rang. I thought it was a delivery sent to the wrong address. When I opened the door, a woman in a beige trench coat was standing there. Her hair was shoulder length, her eyeliner was sharp, and her lips were pressed into a thin line. Chen Wan, Sun Yinqing's best friend. Also, the story's #1 intelligence officer. Also, the social circle's biggest loudmouth. Guyi, with her arms crossed, she scanned me from head to toe. My pajamas were rumpled, my hair was sticking up, and there was still a grain of rice at the corner of my mouth. The perfect image of a retired person. Sister Chen, what is it? She took a deep breath and spoke in a tone that said, "I'm here to save you. Nianqing asked me to check on you. She said you weren't in a very good state last night." "I'm doing great. She's very worried about you." "No need. She said you refused to help her pick up her cousin last night. Was it because you were so heartbroken that—" "It wasn't heartbreak." I leaned against the doorframe. "I just didn't want to go." Shenwan's eyes narrowed slightly. Her mind was racing. I could almost hear the clicking sound of the gears turning. "Guyi, I know you're feeling miserable, but Nianqing is only looking out for you. You can't just because she got married." "Sister Chun," I interrupted her, "I'm not miserable. I came home last night, played 6 games, ate 2 pieces of cake, went to bed at 11, and slept through until dawn." Her mouth opened, closed, and opened again. You're really not sad. Really, do me a favor and tell Su Nianqing that I'm doing just fine." I paused. "No, there's no need to pass on a message. Just tell her I've blocked her number. Don't come looking for me anymore." Shenwan's eyes nearly popped out of her head. Her lips trembled twice, as if someone had stuffed a lemon into her mouth. You blocked Nianqing?" "Yes. WeChat, phone calls, texts, everything." "You've gone mad." "I'm not mad. I just feel that. When it's time to cut ties, you should make a clean break." I gave her a nod and closed the door. The door panel shut out the noise from outside. After about 10 seconds, the sound of high heels faded into the distance, and the elevator doors closed. I pulled out my phone and opened the WeChat chat history with Su Nianqing, 2,417 messages over the past 3 years. I scrolled to the very first one, sent on the first day I arrived here. "Nianqing, the weather is nice today. Remember to bring an umbrella." My finger hovered over the delete button. I paused for 2 seconds, then pressed it. Clean and refreshing. It felt like taking off a 3-year-old stage costume, folding it up, locking it in a trunk, and kicking it under the bed. The phone vibrated again. It was a WeChat message from a colleague named Wang Meng. "Brother Yi, I heard you cried like a dog at Su Nianqing's wedding last night." This was followed by 5 face with tears of joy emojis and a meme of a Shiba Inu in the rain with my face photoshopped onto it. Word travels fast. I replied with 2 words, "Get lost." Then I followed up with, "Barbecue is on me tomorrow." Today is the first day of freedom. The weather is clear, perfect for eating well, perfect for lying flat, and perfect for being a happy salted fish. The 4th day of freedom. I sat at my workstation, typing up the quarterly project report on my computer screen. Wang Meng, with a lollipop in his mouth, leaned over. "Brother Yi, it's like you've been a different person these past couple of days." "In what way?" He gestured in the air, visibly loosened up. "You used to come to work every day with those dead fish eyes, skipping lunch and bolting the second the clock hit 5. I thought you owed money to loan sharks. Asterisk, that was because I was rushing to deliver food to Su Nianqing, pick up her packages, go shopping with her, wait in line for her, fix her computer, or listen to her complain about the mail lead. Asterisk, I'm just in a good mood lately." I hit the enter key. "Is it because you finally gave up on her?" "It's because I've found clarity." Wang Meng whistled. "That doesn't sound like you." His voice stopped abruptly. His eyes were glued to the reception area, and the lollipop fell right out of his mouth. "Holy shit!" I followed his gaze. Su Nianqing, standing at the front desk. She was wearing a cream-colored knit dress and 3-inch heels, her hair draped over her shoulders, holding 2 large bags. The girl at the front desk stammered. "And may I ask who you're looking for?" "Guyi." She smiled slightly. Her voice wasn't loud, but the entire office floor went silent. Asterisk, thanks a lot, Comrade Su Nianqing. Asterisk. Asterisk, come in my office? Were you a delivery app? Showing up at the door when nobody even placed an order? Asterisk. I stood up. I walked over. The eyes of my co-workers followed me like a pack of spotlights. "What are you doing here?" Su Nianqing handed over the bags. "I brought you some things. You left a few pieces of clothing at my place when you moved, and..." She gave the insulated bag in her other hand a little shake. "The osmanthus cake you like. My mom made it." Asterisk, I don't like osmanthus cake. That's just a character trait for the second male lead in the original book. I've eaten so much of it in this life, I want to puke. Asterisk. Thanks. Just leave it on the counter. I pointed to the desk. She didn't put it down. Her gaze swept past my shoulder, scanning the office, as if checking how many eyes were watching. Then, the corners of her mouth curved slightly, and she lowered her voice. Are you free? Help me pick some curtains for the new house. Jingchuan doesn't have a feel for these things, and I can't decide on my own. I remained silent for 2 seconds. The office was so quiet you could hear the hum of the air conditioning vents. Wang Ming's head poked halfway out from behind a partition, his mouth hanging open wide enough to swallow an egg. Sun Yinqing. Yes. Have your husband go with you. Her smile froze for a fraction of a second. It was brief, but I saw it clearly. The curve at the corners of her eyes slumped ever so slightly. Jingchuan has been very busy lately. Then go by yourself. Her fingers tightened around the handle of the insulated bag, her knuckles turning white. Guyi, I mean well. I know, but Sun Yinqing, I looked her in the eye. We were never together, not in the past, and not in the future. You're married now. I have no obligation to help you with your affairs. The entire office was deathly silent. The fire of gossip burned in everyone's eyes. Someone pretended to drink water, holding the cup to their lips for a long time, without putting it down. Wang Ming's lollipop hit the floor for the second time. Sun Yinqing's expression changed. It wasn't sadness, nor was it a sense of being wronged. It was the kind of irritation that comes from having one's pride wounded. Her brow furrowed slightly, her lips pulled tight, and her jawline tense by a degree. But she didn't lash out. She controlled herself. The corners of her mouth curled up again, fainter and colder than before. Fine. I'll leave the stuff here then. She placed the bag on the front desk and turned around. Her high heels tapped 4 crisp beats against the floor, each strike sounding like it was saying, "You'll regret this." She stopped for a moment at the elevator. She didn't look back. The line of her shoulders was pulled taut and straight. The elevator doors opened. She walked in. The door closed. The office area unmuted, as if someone had hit the play button. Whispers began bubbling up from every direction. Was that Sun Yinqing? The one he chased for 3 years. He actually turned her down. Is it really over? It's actually over. Wang Ming scurried over to my workstation, his eyes gleaming. Brother Yi, you're hardcore? You just cut it off like that. I sat back in my chair, swiveled halfway around, and went back to typing my report. The cursor on the screen blinked steadily. It's been over for a long time, I said. Day 12 of freedom. The bad news arrived, and it arrived in classic Sun Yinqing style. She doesn't strike often, but when she does, she aims straight for your social circle. Friday night, university reunion. The private room in the hot pot restaurant was thick with steam. By the time I arrived, 7 or 8 people were already seated around a round table, busy dipping meat and pouring drinks. The atmosphere was perfectly normal until I sat down. Zhao Cheng, sitting across from me, put down his chopsticks and cleared his throat with a look that said, I'm telling you this for your own sake. Brother Yi, don't take this the wrong way, but... Go ahead. Nianqing, she told me a few things. He glanced around and lowered his voice. She said that lately, you haven't been in the right headspace, that you're always hanging around her office and making harassing phone calls. My chopsticks, clutching a piece of tripe, froze in midair. What did you say? I know it's hard to let go. Wait, I set my chopsticks down. She said I've been hanging around her office? Those were her exact words. She also said you went to her company the other day and caused a scene. She was the one who came to see me. The table went silent for a moment. Regardless of the details, Lu Jia chimed in from the side. You're a grown man. She's already married. Just stop pestering her. Exactly. Another person agreed. Let it go, man. Don't embarrass yourself. Oh, I get it now. Sun Yinqing just turned the tables and framed me. Classic move. On page 241 of the book, she used this same trick against the supporting female character. First, spread the impression in social circles that the other person is too extreme. Then once everyone is on her side, step out to play the magnanimous White Lotus who says, I don't want to hurt him, but he's making things so difficult for me. Pity she forgot one thing. I've read the script. I picked up the Coke in front of me and took a sip. The bubbles prickled the tip of my tongue as I slowly set the glass down. Which of you? has actually seen me at the entrance of her company with your own eyes? No one at the table spoke. Who here has ever received a call I made to Sun Yinqing? Still no one. Regarding her coming to my company that day, go ask my colleagues. Over 30 people, from the receptionist to the manager, saw it. She came on her own accord. I rejected her, and she left by herself. Zhao Qing's expression began to falter. I leaned back against the chair and started counting on my fingers. In the past 3 years, I've delivered breakfast to Sun Yinqing 1,246 times. I've picked her up from the airport 14 times. I've helped her move 3 times. When she was sick, I took time off work to stay by her bed, which cost me half a month's salary. When she didn't have a Valentine's Day gift, I used credit to buy her a bag. I paused for a moment. Did any of you, whether at a party or in private, before she got married, ever say a single word like, Sun Yinqing, you should treat Guyi a little better? The private room was so quiet that even the bubbling of the hot pot was clearly audible. Zhao Cheng turned his face toward the pot and pretended to fish for peanuts. Lu Jia lowered her head to drink, choking slightly from drinking too fast. I'm done. I stood up. I picked up my jacket. By the way, I won't be joining you for dinner tonight. I have an appointment. Oh, who are you meeting? Zhao Cheng asked instinctively. A blind date. 8 pairs of eyes widened in unison. I took out my phone and waved it. On the screen was a WeChat profile picture named Xiao Yu and a location she had sent. She's waiting for me at the mall next door. I'm off. I pushed the door open. The moment I stepped out of the room, I heard the place erupt behind me. He's going on a blind date? For real. Wasn't it said he's been hopelessly in love for 3 years and couldn't let go? Then what he just said, what exactly did Sun Yinqing tell us? The door closed. The hallway was thick with the spicy scent and oily fumes of hot pot. I took out my phone and sent Wang Ming a message. Check if your cousin is free this weekend, the one you promised to introduce me to last time. Wang Ming replied instantly with a string of exclamation marks and a thumbs-up emoji. The gears of a new life were turning. Sun Yinqing's script. It was time to turn the page. Wang Ming's cousin was named Yu Xiaoqing. She worked part-time at a milk tea shop in the mall. She had a round face, a ponytail, and a single dimple on her right cheek when she smiled. When she spoke, she had a habit of holding her straw in the corner of her mouth. You really chased a girl for 3 years? She tilted her head at me, her eyes brimming with curiosity. To be precise, I acted for 3 years. Acted as what? Acted as a simp. She burst out laughing, and milk tea nearly sprayed out of her nose. We met at a Western restaurant by the river. I had picked the spot, outdoor seating along the bank. The night breeze felt wonderful, and we could see the Ferris wheel across the water. You order, I'm not picky, she said, pushing the menu toward me. Did you know? Every time Sun Yinqing ate, she'd spend 15 minutes looking at the menu. She'd ask about the calories for every single dish. And even after ordering, she'd change her mind 3 times. This not picky of yours, it's worth 10,000 points. I ordered 2 steaks, 2 glasses of orange juice, and a dessert platter. As Yu Xiaoqing was tearing into the bread, I caught a glimpse of the entrance out of the corner of my eye. A figure in a black dress, accompanied by a man in a well-tailored suit. Sun Yinqing and Shun Jingchuan. What are you playing at? Showing off your post-wedding bliss with a candlelight dinner? And you just had to pick this restaurant. There are hundreds of Western restaurants in this city. What are the odds you'd pick the same one as me? No, it wasn't a coincidence. This morning, I had posted my location on WeChat Moments with the caption, Dinner Date Tonight, along with a photo of the menu. Sun Yinqing had seen it. The waiter led them to the table next to ours. They were only 2 meters away, close enough that I could smell her perfume, the white tea scent Sun Yinqing always wore. Shun Jingchuan pulled out a chair, and Sun Yinqing sat down, her eyes darting quickly in my direction. Then she looked away. She began her performance. Jingchuan, the color of your time matches my dress so well today. Her voice was neither loud nor soft, just right for the words to drift over. Shun Jingchuan gave a silent smile. Look at that dessert. It's so cute. Feed me. She held the spoon to Shan Jingchuan's mouth while turning her head to glance my way. Holy crap, you're putting on a show for me, aren't you? Do you think I'll get jealous? That my heart will ache? That I'll rush over, flip the table, and scream, Sun Yinxing, why didn't you choose me? Please, I've already read 103 scenes in this book of you and the male lead being sweet together. I'm immune. Yu Xiaocheng, sitting opposite me, said, this steak is so tender, try it. She forked a piece and held it out. I lowered my head and ate it. After chewing twice, I said, it's good. You didn't dip it in the sauce. I think it's better without it. Yu Xiaocheng smiled. At the next table, Sun Yinxing's voice got a little louder. Jingchuan, let's go to Sanya next week. You promised me before. Shen Jingchuan poked at his plate twice with his chopsticks. He looked up, glanced at Sun Yinxing, and then looked over at us. His brow furrowed slightly. He didn't say anything. Sun Yinxing was still performing. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes passed. I didn't look at her once. Not once. Not at all. Because I was focused on eating my steak. I was focused on listening to Yu Xiaocheng tell the story about her college roommate's hamster escaping. I was focused on living my own life. At some point, Sun Yinxing's voice suddenly dropped. I didn't turn around. As I was cutting the last piece of steak, I saw Shan Jingchuan stand up out of the corner of my eye. He headed toward the restroom. As he passed me, his pace faltered for half a beat. He turned his head and glanced at me. It wasn't hostility, and it wasn't jealousy. It was a subtle kind of observation. He left. I finished the last bite of steak and placed my knife and fork together on the right side of the plate. Opposite me, Yu Xiaocheng tilted her head. That woman over there has been staring at you. Ignore her. Your ex. No, never was. Yu Xiaocheng looked at me for 3 seconds, then let out an, oh, and went back to her orange juice. When I paid the bill, I glanced at the neighboring table. The steak in front of Sun Yinxing had only been cut twice. She had barely eaten anything. Her wine glass was still more than half full. She was staring in my direction, her lips pressed into a tight line. I didn't meet her eyes. I pulled back Yu Xiaocheng's chair and said with a smile, let's go. A new ice cream shop opened downstairs. As I walked out of the restaurant, I felt a gaze following me for a long time. Like a needle, but it could no longer pierce through. Date 21 of freedom. Sun Yinxing has made her move. This time, it wasn't a soft knife. Tuesday morning, during the meeting, the project director, Lao Zhang, called me into his office. When the door closed, the curtains were also drawn. Gu Yi, that cooperation proposal with Ruiheng Technology you're handling. What about it? Lao Zhang rubbed his hands together. The other party pulled out. I stood before his desk. During last week's meeting, they said they would sign the contract next month. The news came this morning. They said it's an internal adjustment, and they're putting the cooperation on hold. Lao Zhang avoided my gaze, tidying the documents on his desk. But Xiao Gu, don't overthink it. This kind of thing, who pulled the strings? Lao Zhang's hand stopped. Mr. Zhang, Ruiheng Technology's procurement director, Li Lei, was classmates with Sun Yinxing's cousin. You know that, right? Lao Zhang remained silent for 5 seconds. Then he let out a sigh. Xiao Gu, I'm the one who mentored you, so I'll give you a word of advice. The Su family has deep connections in our circles. In the future, try to have fewer frictions with them. I nodded and walked out. Back at my workstation, I sat for 3 minutes. My fingers tapped a few keys on the keyboard, then stopped. Wang Ming leaned in from the side. What's wrong? You look off. The Ruiheng deal fell through. What? You spent 2 months grinding for that. Someone sabotaged it. Wang Ming's expression darkened. Sun Yinxing. I didn't answer. I opened my phone and scrolled to a memo. The title was Backup Plan, created 2 years and 4 months ago. This memo recorded 3 things. First, a side hustle I started in my 7th month in this world, using my time after work short video operations. In 2 years, I built an account with 120,000 followers in the business consulting niche. Second, all the savings I accumulated in the first year were invested in 3 funds and a street-level commercial unit in a residential community. The unit is rented to a milk tea shop, bringing in 4,200 yuan in rent every month. Third, professional certifications I earned in the second year. Dual certifications in project management and data analysis. Soon Yinqing thought that all my energy over the past 3 years had been spent being her simp. She thought I had nothing. She thought that by cutting off my livelihood, she could force me to crawl back to her. Wang Meng. Yeah. Help me clear out my workstation. I stood up, picking up my mug and the cactus from my desk. You're quitting. Not just quitting. With this deal gone, my performance review for this quarter is shot. Rather than waiting for them to use it as an excuse to come after me, I'd rather leave on my own terms. What are you going to do then? I tucked the mug into my backpack and patted the spines of the cactus. I have a backup plan. That afternoon, I pulled out the profit reports from my milk tea shop in the community commercial space and looked through them. Then I logged into my video account. A video I posted last week titled 5 Things Every Corporate Drone Should Do Before Resigning had hit 230,000 views, and the comments section was blowing up. I sat in my rented room, sunlight streaming through the window and hitting the keyboard. Soon Yinqing probably thought that by smashing my rice bowl, I would come begging for her help. Just like before, Yinqing, I'm short on rent this month, or Yinqing, I need you to help introduce me to. But now, though the bowl was overturned, the pot was still simmering. I opened my laptop and started writing a script for a new short video. Working title: What to Do When Your Ex Won't Stop Harassing You. 3 Steps to an Elegant Exit. My fingers paused. Forget it. I changed the title to When Your Life is Finally No Longer Defined by Others. Confessions of a Corporate Drone. This title is better. Post. The video went viral. Not just a little viral. The kind of viral that completely trashes your notification bar. Day 1, 680,000 views. Day 2, 1 million. Day 3, trending. The content was simple. Me sitting on the balcony of my rented room, talking to the front-facing camera about my life over the past 3 years. I didn't mention Soon Yinqing's name. I didn't use any aggressive language. It simply described a state of being bound, drained, and used as a tool, as well as the relief that comes with deciding to no longer clean up someone else's mess. The comments section was like a floodgate being opened. Isn't this just me and my ex? Only when you decide to stop kneeling can you finally stand up. This hit me hard. Blogger, you're living the life I only ever dreamed of. Then, on the 4th day, Soon Yinqing posted a video. She was sitting on the sofa at home. The rims of her eyes were red. The tip of her nose was red, too. Her voice trembled. I didn't want to say any of this because I felt private matters shouldn't be brought up online. A pause. She wiped the corner of her eye. But recently, someone has been constantly making veiled attacks against me online and hasn't even stopped harassing me after my wedding. A 47-second video. She cried 3 times. She mentioned him 7 times. She mentioned, "I'm so scared" twice. The comments section was immediately swarmed. My heart aches for you, sis. Call the police on this stalker immediately. The other blogger is that guy, right? Disgusting. The comments section on my video also exploded. Half the people were cursing me. The other half were waiting for my response. Wang Meng called, his voice tense. Have you seen it? The one Soon Yinqing posted. What are you going to do? Don't worry. I sat on the balcony, my phone screen glowing. There was a breeze outside, making the t-shirts on the clothesline sway back and forth. I opened a folder. The name is safe. What's inside? 3 years worth of chat history screenshots. Every single one, from the first day to the last. Soon Yinqing sent me 2,417 messages. I replied 931 times. Out of those 2,417 messages, By Me XX appeared 302 times. Come Pick Me Up appeared 176 times. I Fought with Jing Chuan. Come Keep Me Company appeared 48 times. Why Aren't You Replying to My Messages appeared 67 times. As for my 931 replies, Okay appeared 420 times. I'll Be There Right Away appeared 183 times. On My Way appeared 97 times. No explanation was needed. The data itself was the answer. I arranged the screenshots in chronological order and added a caption. Below is the complete chat history from the past 3 years. Who was the harasser and who was the tool? Please judge for yourselves. No emotional wording. No counterattacks. No crying. Just laying out the data. Post it. 40 minutes later, the trending list exploded. Hashtag Soon Yinching chat history hashtag shot to 3rd place. Hashtag who exactly is harassing whom hashtag followed closely behind. Netizens combed through them one by one. My God. Go pick up my takeout at 2 m. Is she treating this person like a dog? Why didn't you come today? Do you not care about me anymore? Sister, you're married? That one. I had a fight with Jingchuan. Come sit with me for a while. The time it was sent was the 3rd day after her wedding. The 3rd day. Public opinion flipped as fast as a pancake. Soon Yinching's video comment section was besieged. Insults poured in like a flood. She disabled the comments. Then she deleted the video. But the screenshots were already flying everywhere. I put down my phone, stood up, walked to the balcony, and looked down at the street below. The streetlights were on, casting a warm yellow light on the leaves of the plane trees. An old man was walking his dog. The leash had gotten wrapped around a lamppost, leaving both man and dog spinning in place. I leaned against the railing and chuckled. The phone vibrated again. A message from Yu Xiaocheng. You're on the trending searches. All my coworkers at the milk tea shop are watching. Followed by a row of cheer up emojis. From Wang Meng. Bro, legendary. How'd you keep 3 years of chat logs? I replied, professional habit. When you're acting, you always have to keep an archive of the script. The 3rd day after the storm of public opinion. 9:00 p.m. I was cooking noodles at home. The water in the pot had just started to bubble when the doorbell rang. I turned off the heat, walked over, and looked through the peephole. Soon Yinching. No makeup. Dark circles hung under her eyes. Her hair was tied in a casual ponytail, with stray strands sticking to her forehead. Her eyes were red, and so was the tip of her nose. I opened the door. She stood at the entrance, looking at me. Her lips moved twice, but no sound came out. Then, the tears fell. It wasn't an act. At least, not on the surface. Gui. Her voice was hoarse, thick with a nasal quality. Did I do something wrong? I leaned against the doorframe, hands buried in my pockets. You tell me, I said. She lowered her head, her fingers twisting the hem of her shirt. Her knuckles were white from the strain. I've been thinking these past few days, at what point did you stop? She looked up, tear tracks staining her face. Did you never actually like me? Oh, finally woke up. Never. Those words landed like nails being driven into a wooden board. Soon Yinching's body swayed. She grabbed the doorframe for support. Then these past 3 years. An act. Silence. The sound-activated light in the hallway timed out and clicked off. Only the glow from the phone screen and the kitchen light inside remained, silhouetting the two of us. You lied to me for 3 years. Her voice suddenly turned shrill, laced with the fury of being insulted. Do you know how many people I rejected because of you? Do you know? Stop. My voice wasn't loud, but her mouth snapped shut. Soon Yinching, think carefully before you speak. Who did you reject? From beginning to end, the only person you ever wanted was Shun Jingchuan. Me. You never once considered me. Her lips trembled. I was just your backup plan, I said. No, not even a backup. I was your tool. A porter. An emotional trash can. A late-night delivery boy. I didn't. You did. I pulled out my phone and opened a screenshot in front of her. It was a WeChat message she had sent to Chanwan 3 months ago. Guyi is just so useful. He does whatever I tell him to. Having him around saves so much trouble. I'll have to keep him around even after I get married. LOL. Soon Yinching's face froze. Completely froze. She reached out to snatch the phone, but I took a step back. Did Wanwan send this to you? Her voice was trembling. How could she? It doesn't matter. Soon Yinching's tears began to fall again. But this time, the meaning behind the tears was different. It wasn't grievance. It wasn't sadness. It was fear, because she suddenly realized that what I held in my hands was far more lethal than those chat logs. Guyi. She wiped away her tears and took a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. What exactly do you want? Money? An apology? Name your price. I looked at her. 3 years ago, when I first transmigrated into this book, she had accepted Shun Jingchuan's confession in front of the entire school, only to turn back and say to me, "Gu Yi, you're my best friend." At that moment, the original host's heart broke. But in my mind, there was only one thought. How much longer do I have to endure being this shitty character? The answer was 3 years. The 3 years were up. I owed no one in this world anything. I don't want anything, I said. I just want you to, starting today, stop appearing in my life. Sun Yinqing opened her mouth to speak. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your backup. And I'm not an emotional outlet you can turn to whenever you get into a fight. I have my own life. You should have yours too. I took a step back. The noodles are getting soggy. I'm closing the door now. The door shut. The hallway was silent for a long time. It took about 2 minutes before the sound of high heels finally rang out. 1 click, 2 clicks, gradually fading away. I turned and walked into the kitchen. The water in the pot had already gone cold, and the noodles had turned into a soggy clump. Dump them. Boiled water again. When the second pot of noodles was ready, I added a poached egg, sprinkled some chopped green onions, and took a slurp. Not bad. My phone screen lit up. It was from Yu Xiaocheng. It's the weekend tomorrow. Want to go hike, Nanshan? I replied, I'm in. I'll pick you up at 7 in the morning. Finish the noodles, wash the bowl. Lights off. Sleep. That night, I slept exceptionally soundly. I thought Sun Yinqing would stop. I was wrong. Being rejected. To Sun Yinqing, it wasn't a full stop. It was a fuse. Day 35 of freedom. Sunday afternoon, I was helping out at Yu Xiaocheng's milk tea shop. I had already handed out 40 cups of milk tea over the counter, and my fingers were aching from tapping the cash register. Just as I was bending over to restock, the shop door was pushed open. It wasn't a customer. 3 people walked in. Leading them was a woman in her 40s with meticulously permed curls and a string of pearls around her neck. The logo on her handbag was flashy enough to bounce all over my tiny rented room. Su Yufang, Sun Yinqing's mother. A classic character trope from the original novel. She came with the full set of traits. Fiercely protective of her own, snobbish, and the my daughter can do no wrong mentality. Following behind her were Chun Wan and a man in a suit, the Su family's legal counsel. Yu Xiaocheng poked her head out from behind the counter, looking at the spectacle and then at me. You know them? She whispered, a straw dangling from her mouth. I do. Su Yufang's gaze swept across the milk tea shop. The cups on the shelves, the handwritten menu on the wall, the cardboard boxes piled in the corner, and a subtle curl appeared at the corner of her lips. Then she looked at me. Are you Gu Yi? I am. She pulled a manila envelope from her bag and slapped it onto the counter. The envelope was unsealed, revealing white papers inside. This is a lawyer's letter. All content you posted online involving my daughter must be deleted within 48 hours. Otherwise, we will proceed with legal action. Her voice wasn't loud, but every word hit like a hammer. The 2 other customers in the shop stopped with their milk teas halfway to their mouths, not daring to take a sip. The straw fell out of Yu Xiaocheng's mouth. I picked up the envelope, pulled out the letter, and skimmed it. Infringement of reputation rights? My daughter has been cyberbullied for 2 weeks because of the things you posted. Su Yufang's voice rose half an octave. She hasn't left the house for days and can't even eat. Do you have any idea what you've done? When your daughter first posted that video claiming I harassed her, why didn't you mention cyberbullying? Auntie Sue, I said, putting the letter back into the envelope and pushing it across the counter. Your daughter was the one who posted a video first, falsely accusing me of harassment. Only then did I post the chat logs to clear my name. You should be clear about the sequence of events. And where did those chat logs come from? You kept them for 3 years? If that isn't harboring malicious intent, what is? Chun Wan chimed in from the side. Exactly. What normal person keeps 3 years of chat logs? Have you been plotting against Yinqing this whole time? I ignored Chun Wan. Annie Sue, if you really want to take legal action, I have no objection. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened a folder. But before that, there are a few things you might want to see. Su Yufang frowned. I turned the phone screen toward her. The first one, The message logs Su Yinqing sent me after her marriage. The frequency was high, the content crossed the line, and every single one was time-stamped. The second one, transfer records and ride-hailing receipts for helping her move, picking her up from the airport, and running errands. It was all one way. Over 3 years, the total came to 27,400 yuan. Not a single cent was ever repaid. The third one, a screenshot of a message Su Yinqing sent to Chen Wan. Guyi is so easy to use. He does whatever I tell him to. Su Yufang's expression changed bit by bit, from condescending to somber to livid. Her lips tightened into a thin line. The pearl necklace shifted with the movement of her throat as she swallowed. Her voice was dry. Yinqing, I have the original data and backups for all of this. If we go to court, everything will be made public. The legal advisor's face soured as well. He leaned down and whispered a few words into Su Yufang's ear. I couldn't hear what was said, but I saw Su Yufang's hand tighten around her handbag strap, her knuckles turning so white it looked as if the bone might pierce through the skin. The door was pushed open again. Shen Jingchuan walked in. His suit jacket was unbuttoned, his tie was loose, and his hair was a bit messy, as if he had run the whole way there. "Mom," he called out to Su Yufang, then looked at me. "What's going on?" Su Yufang didn't answer. Shen Jingchuan bypassed her and stood at the counter. He looked at the envelope on the desk, then at the screenshots on my phone. His face gradually darkened. "Is all of this true?" he asked. "You can ask your wife," I said. Shen Jingchuan stood there, staring at those screenshots, the lines of his shoulders tightening bit by bit. His Adam's apple bobbed. Then he turned to face Su Yufang. "Mom, this ends here. Withdraw the lawyer's letter." "Su Yufang, Jingchuan." I said withdraw it. His voice wasn't raised, but every word was as heavy as iron. Su Yufang opened her mouth, but in the end, she said nothing. Shen Jingchuan gave me one last look. It wasn't gratitude. It wasn't an apology. It was simply the silence of a man who had finally seen the truth for what it was. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, and walked toward the door. I only heard one sentence. "Yinqing, we need to talk. I'll have my lawyer bring over the divorce papers tomorrow." A scream came from the other end of the line, audible even through the receiver. Then came the sound of sobbing. Shen Jingchuan hung up. Su Yufang's body swayed. Chen Wan caught her. "Let's go." Shen Jingchuan pushed open the door and stepped out into the sunlight. Supported by Chen Wan, Su Yufang followed him out. As she passed me, she paused for a step. Her lips moved slightly, but she said nothing. The legal consultant grabbed the envelope from the table, tucked it under his arm, and followed them out quickly with his head down. The door closed. Silence returned to the milk tea shop. The freezer hummed. The small fan in the corner oscillated back and forth. Yu Xiaoqing slowly straightened up from behind the counter, still clutching a paper cup. She looked at me and blinked twice. "You were so cool just now." I looked down at the apron I was wearing. The chest was printed with a cartoon cow and the words Xiaoqing's milk tea. "Cool, my foot," I said, reading the apron strings. "Number 12's taro mash boba still isn't ready. Don't just stand there dazing." She burst into a giggle and turned to grab a cup. Standing behind the counter, I took a deep breath. The scent of milk, the scent of fruit, and the cool air from the air conditioner. Outside the window, the sunlight cut the floor into a patchwork of bright spots. The 3-year act, it's a wrap. 1 month later, the alarm rings at 7. I roll over and press it off. I lie there for 3 seconds. I get out of bed. I squeeze a pea-sized amount of toothpaste and brush for 3 minutes. As I wash my face, the person in the mirror, there's a tiny curve at the corners of the mouth. It isn't a smile, it's relaxation. The brow isn't furrowed. There are no dark circles under the eyes. The cactus on the balcony has bloomed with a small flower. Yellow, about the size of a thumbnail. I give it a little water. Yu Xiaoqing sends a message. "I developed a new milk tea today. Come be my guinea pig." The attached photo is a cup of something green with a marshmallow floating on top. It looks like a swamp. I reply, "Since I'm coming anyway, I'll accept my fate even if I get poisoned." I head out. My phone vibrates as I walk down the stairs. A push notification, a headline from an entertainment account. Famous blogger Su Nyingching reportedly divorced. Controversy arises over alleged post-marital entanglement with former suitor. I swipe it away. The lady at the breakfast stall downstairs calls out to me, "Xiao gu," the usual soy milk and fried dough sticks. Add a tea egg. Sitting on a plastic stool, I take a bite of the dough stick. Crispy, with a hint of saltiness. The oil temperature was just right. It wasn't over-fried. The phone vibrates again. Wang Meng sends a voice message. "Bro, your video account is up to 300,000 followers. Brand are looking to collaborate." A 58-second voice clip. Half of it is screaming. The other half is reading off numbers. I hummed an MHM in reply while chewing on a fried dough stick. After finishing breakfast, I set off for the subway station. The leaves of the plane trees had already begun to turn yellow. One drifted down onto my shoulder. I picked it up, glanced at it, and blew it away. As I passed a bookstore, I paused for a moment. A row of newly released web novel collections was displayed in the window. I went inside. I spent a couple of minutes searching shelves. I couldn't find that book, the one I had transmigrated into. Perhaps in this world, it never existed at all. Or perhaps it had existed, but I had lived it into a completely different story. I stood by the bookshelf for a few seconds. Then, I picked up a science fiction novel with a spaceship on the cover and flipped through it. "How much is this?" The cashier replied, "32. I bought it. When I stepped out of the bookstore, the sunlight was just right. It wasn't blinding, but carried that distinct golden hue of autumn. People were coming and going on the street. A child on a scooter whizzed past me, nearly colliding with a girl carrying a cat. The cat let out a meow, and the girl laughed. I stuffed my new book into my backpack. My phone rang. A voice message from Yu Xiaocheng. "Where are you? If the milk tea gets cold, don't blame me." I quickened my pace. After a few steps, I stopped again. I pulled out my phone and opened the Notes app. The file name Backup Plan was still there. I glanced at it. Then I long pressed it. Delete. I didn't need it anymore. No more backups. No more safety nets or escape routes. Because from this day forward, this is my own life. No script. No role. No one behind a screen writing my lines and my ending for me. The road is ahead. All I have to do is walk. At the subway entrance, the autumn wind rushes in, carrying the toasted sweetness of sugar-roasted chestnuts. I swipe my card and enter the station. The turnstile beeps and the green light turns on. A new day.
Everyone, that's all for today's story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If it's not to your liking, please be kind. Your support is the only motivation for me to keep creating original stories. Goodbye.